All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Dane Maxwell. Dane, welcome. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Good.
So I got to start off by giving a shout out to my friend Giovanni Marsico. You and we got to meet 2 weeks ago at his Destiny Fest event in Toronto. And it was actually Destiny Fest was on that Saturday, and I can't remember what it was called the day before, but we were there for that too and stuff.
Hmm.
And that evening, they had a dinner for everybody, and it was in this ballroom or what have you at the hotel there. And you and myself and Jamie sat at that dinner table long after everybody else had left. I mean, we're talking hours after everybody else had left, and just had such an engaging conversation. And that's when I asked you if you'd be open to doing an interview for the podcast, and you graciously accepted. But what's so cool about that? Well, Dane, how long have you known Gio?
Couple years.
Couple of years. Okay. I met Gio probably 14 years ago in Joe Polish's Genius Network group.
Mm.
In fact, I remember being with Gio in New York City at one of Joe's annual Genius Network events, like about 13 years ago. And Gio had invited me to go to dinner with him. And that evening at dinner, he starts mapping out this vision that he had. And he's like, Kevin, I want to start doing these events, and I want to bring up and coming entrepreneurs. And I also want to bring well-established entrepreneurs. And I want the established entrepreneurs to just really pour into the up and coming entrepreneurs. And I even want them to support them financially by helping cover their costs, offering scholarships to them and stuff so that they can attend this event as well. And he's mapped this out for me at dinner that night. And I was like, wow. I'm like, what an amazing idea, Gio. I was like, man, I'm totally in. Where do I send money? And he's like, well, Kev, he's like, you're the first person I've ever told about this. So I don't have an answer for you yet, but I'll get back to you and I'll let you know where to send it. And it has been so inspiring to watch what he has done over the last 12, 13 years. And like, there was like almost 2,000 people at that event in Toronto a couple weeks ago. And you were on stage. You did this musical thing on stage, just totally improv, and it was absolutely brilliant. And you made I don't know what the response was like on your end and stuff, but I know just on the receiving end of it, I'm like, wow, that was way cool. What was that like for you, Dane?
Pretty nerve-wracking.
Pretty nerve-wracking, was it? It
Yeah.
was nerve-wracking for you, huh?
Yeah, because I didn't want to. I wanted to be present with people
Huh? Well,
instead
you
instead
definitely.
instead of rehearsed.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and most people when they get in front of 1,400 people, they have a whole thing in their head they're going to do.
Sure, sure.
And I think that personally, I think like the next evolution of events and presentations are not to be rehearsed, but to have greatness in the moment and present moment oriented creation together.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that the magic's there if people are willing to do it. So I felt like I was dangling by a string, but the string has a there's a string I chose to dangle by.
Uh-huh. You told me that you were going to do that, and how you were just I'm just there's no, I'm not preparing at all for this. I'm just going to show up and be present, and whatever feels right to do when I get on that stage, that's what I'm going to do. And like I said, being on the receiving end, being in the audience, I was like, wow, what a awesome experience and stuff.
Good.
And
Good.
and that gal at the end that you got up there and like, hey, we want to see you sing. We want to hear you sing. And she's like, what? But you know what? She started singing. And I bet that was in fact, you can just tell it was a really awesome experience for her too and stuff. And and there's something to be said for just being present with people and just being like not having an agenda, not in the back of our head, having a conversation, waiting for our turn to talk and talk about our thing or whatever, but just being present and letting things unfold. And man, you got my attention big time. And so, well, um, I want to start off by just uh, asking you about, what is it that what are you working on right now that's got you totally jazzed and excited, Dane?
Creating music and songs that people can listen to take the most difficult actions that they have.
Okay. Okay. So what is that? So give example. What kind of difficult actions are we talking about?
Well, are there any actions that you know that if you took in the next 90 days would have the most positive dramatic impact on your life?
I don't tend to think in 90 days out like that. I had to have a conversation this morning. I didn't say I had to. I got to have a conversation this morning with a person that I serve that I know that they're going through a real challenging time right now. And going into that conversation, I I was like, so there was the possibility that they would have told me they're not going to be a client anymore because of the stuff that they're going through, and having some financial challenges at the moment. And so in my past, I would have definitely wanted to put off a conversation like that because like that's one of those conversations you just don't necessarily like having. But I reframed this because like, well, no matter what happens here, whether they stop becoming a client, stop being a client, or whether they stay on with me, I really love this person. I love who they are. I love how they show up. And if I can be of service to them and help them out, man, I would really love to do that. And through that conversation, I think we found a solution, and we'll find out later this week if it was or not. And but those
How about something like you always wanted to write a book or
okay, so that's
start
a good example right there.
play play a new sport, work out, lose weight, uh like pick up a new hobby, like something that's like would really move the needle for your heart and your life.
Yeah,
Is there anything in that category?
totally. So yes, I could absolutely stand to lose weight, 100%. Yes. And that would improve life if I did, for sure.
Is there is it an action that you want to take?
I do want to take that. Yes. And I've been working on that. I've been eating healthier. Yes.
So imagine having a song of unconditional love sang into your ears about how beautiful you are, how brilliant you are, how you're made to be in your highest peak physical condition, and how you are designed to thrive physically, and that's who you are. And um, you're nothing short of miraculous, and you're nothing short of spectacular, and you deserve that, and you deserve to inspire your kids by doing that, and you deserve to have even better sex than you do by having that, and you deserve to not have afternoon crashes or whatever you might have, because of whatever weight you're at, and like just you deserve better sleep, and like all the things that come in, and the cognitive improvement, all the things that come from taking the action that's just like, oh, kind of suffocating for your heart to take, or a little bit difficult for your heart to take. A lot of founders are addicted
Okay.
to something, and yours may or may not be food. Yours may or may not be certain negative thinking. Yours may or may not be watching shows, one more show than you want to. Um, I don't know, maybe on your phone. For me, my addictions have been negative thinking,
Okay.
and that's what's kept me from loving people.
Hmm.
So I distracted myself with success.
Okay.
And I was like, this is a socially acceptable, safe, unvulnerable way for me to love people is to serve them in business. That felt safe and not vulnerable. The thing that is in my dream, is in my heart, is I would love to be in as many ears as possible, singing to people just how incredible they are while in the moment they're in their greatest point of resistance and taking action. So one of my friends has so much shame about his body and cannot go to the gym because he doesn't like how he looks in the mirror there.
Okay.
And he's around really fit people and he doesn't feel like he belongs. So I sang him a 12-minute song about how much of a badass he is. Because that's what badass is. It's taking a risk like that, risking a real sense of rejection like that.
Mhm.
And unbeknownst to me, he'd been listening to it every day since then, and he's gone to the gym every day since then as a result, and he's down 7 kilograms.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I didn't sing like, hey, here's how you reverse a negative thought, or hey, here's what you should think,
Yeah.
or hey, you're wrong for thinking that, but just like singing pure possibility and pure inspiration into his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. How did you get into doing this, Dane?
And I hope it wasn't too forward of me or cause any embarrassment by
Not
suggesting
at
that.
all. Not at all.
Okay, that's a very great relief. How'd I get into it? Mm, that's an interesting question. I My heart felt empty.
Okay. Okay.
My heart felt empty. I had 3D success. My heart was empty.
So, okay. So you said 3D success. Describe that. What does 3D success mean?
Oh, like three dimensional, like in the 3D realm, the physical world, bank account, money,
Okay.
time freedom,
Okay.
uh, women, uh, yeah, all the things that are in the 3D world.
Okay. All the things that most people think that if I had all that, wow, I would be really happy then. I mean, because that's what people who don't have that yet think. Or maybe they're
Yeah,
like on their way to having that and they've made some progress and they want more. And they think that, well, when I have more, then I'm going to really be happy. And yet you had it all. And yet you said that, what was the right word? You felt empty.
my heart
Your heart. Yeah.
felt empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And even though you had it all. So speak to that. Um, because yeah, a lot of people think that like, wow, if I have this, if I'm successful and have all the things that I want, I'm going to be happy. And now, yet here you are saying my heart was empty, and
Well,
um,
how do you, if you think about how do you strip men of their power? And you just contemplate it. It's not a
okay.
quick answer. I mean, you might have a quick answer. Do you have a quick answer?
No, I don't.
Yeah. How do you strip men of their power? You make them believe that the outside world can make them happy. That's how you strip a man of his power. You make him believe that worth is an achievement, that worth is status, that worth is attention. And it's very innocent. And the world is designed to engineer us to strip us of our power. There's no power in external achievement. I'm not particularly like strictly religiously Christian or anything, but Jesus had like a donkey,
Mhm.
and a white robe.
Mhm.
It was beaming with power. It was rumored. I I really love studying Jesus, and I love studying like the lost years of him because 18 years of Jesus' life is missing from the Bible.
Yes, yes.
All right, so I'm like, what happened in those 18 years?
Yeah.
And also, all these people that say they love Jesus, I'm like, well, if you love Jesus, why aren't you studying every year of his life? And so I'm trying to, I study, like, I really love Jesus and I want to know that man. And so it's rumored that you could feel his heart from 2 miles away. The average heart field is like 15 feet, 50 feet. You got Jesus beaming from 2 miles away. And he had none of the external trappings of the world. Beautiful women, beautiful cars, beautiful homes are not are an illusion, a very, very, very strong illusion. And you could have those. What I learned is I could have those, or you could have those if they are truly, authentically, vibrationally aligned with the inner being. Like, why not have a beautiful woman? Why not have a beautiful house? Why not have beautiful cars you adore? However, when the place they're coming from has been dissociated from a dissociated place, that's why there's this like internal conflict because we're so vulnerable to manipulation. So how do you strip a man of his power? You make him believe that worth isn't free. You
Okay.
make him believe that peace isn't free. But the great creator that made us, that loves us, do you think that the creator that made us would make worth difficult to obtain? Doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
That's
no.
why that's why like these guys that, by the way, like the context of the God I'm talking about is just so far outside the realm of what any religion could contextualize him in. And that's why you have these guys in India that aren't anywhere near Christianity, but they're with the divine. They're closed, sitting up for 8 hours a day, blissed out, barely eating, in dirty rooms, in a way more ecstasy and bliss than just about anybody else, because God made worth free. God made peace free. So it's like you're like, oh no, no, he didn't. Oh no, he didn't. No, you got to buy a bunch of stuff, show people a bunch of stuff. Abercrombie and Fitch was a big brand in our time period, and they were very, very evil and very manipulative, like legitimately evil. And they propagated a story that you wouldn't belong unless you have earned a certain look or a certain woman or a certain clothes or a certain status. And I totally bought into it because we didn't have the consciousness to see past. I didn't have the consciousness to see that past that at the time. So if you say, so when I say my heart was empty, it's because I was not taught how to pursue my heart. And I was raised Christian. However, one of the primary teachings of Christianity at the time I was growing up was that the heart is deceitful and wicked and cannot be trusted, which is like a couple of Bible verses in there. And I'm born an absolute and total sinner. And so like every time I went within, I was like, well, this sucks. I don't want to be with a heart that the Bible tells me is deceitful and wicked.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with a person that is born a mistake. Sin is to make a mistake or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, and I was like, oh my God. And little did I know, it was just not being communicated or translated to me correctly at the time. There's a much more beautiful interpretation of the same thing.
Yeah.
But since I couldn't sit with my heart, I was like, well, I might as well try and wrap my heart in money, wrap my heart in women, wrap my heart in houses, wrap my house in cars. And by the way, I grew up without TikTok. Could you imagine if I had grown up with that shit? So heart was empty. And I realized that I was approaching life outside in because I thought my inside was just awful. So I
I don't,
started approaching my life inside out.
you're on a real roll, and I don't want to stop it, but I also want to ask you because what I feel, I think most people, in fact, the overwhelming majority of people are looking externally for happiness.
Yeah. Breaks my heart, man.
Yeah. 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 So How, what happened that got you on this path, Dane? Did something, was there like a defining moment in your life or in your business where you're like, man, and you start figuring this out and you're like, oh, what happened?
Well, in some way, in some sense, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, if I look back over the last decade of my life and I look at moments I was like super certain about what I was doing,
Okay.
and I look back and I'm like, that thing I was really certain about was ass backwards about. That thing I was really certain about, that was all ego. That thing I was really certain about, I was acting from fear and not love. But oh, was I confident about? I knew what I was doing at the time. So I guess the answer is my heart just kept feeling empty, so I slowed down, and then
Okay.
I heard the words sing, and I was like, "What do you mean? I'm a 6 foot one, 42-year old, or whatever year old white male. I don't look like a singer. That's not what sing. Sing? Uh, why would anybody want me to sing? I thought I'm such a broken man that the best I can do is perform for someone, serve them, solve their pain, you know, impress them or whatever you need to do. But like, just who I am, just hear the word sing, and I'm like, doesn't make a lot of sense at all. I'm a software as a service entrepreneur founder.
Mhm.
Sing. Uh, uh, and by the way, when I say I don't know what I'm doing, it's very honest because I was really quote unquote confident about, oh man, I'm a SaaS founder. God, I'm cool. Look at the money I make. Damn, dude, look at this recurring revenue piling up in my bank every month while everyone else suffers because they don't have the intelligence to build a lucrative business model. I'm so much cooler than everybody. Oh my God. Why? Why? That's so embarrassing to even say out loud. Thank God I found it so I could correct it and be like, yo, no, dude, everybody's on their own financially karmic journey. Like they have their own lessons to learn around money. By the way, I taught 2,000 people how to build wealth. And I've had two billionaire students, $2 billion students, one at $1 billion valued company, and one will be a billionaire. And then I had one student exit for 500 million. That was 2,000 students to get those three. What are the other 9,907? And then I had, probably half of all 1,000 do very well. And the other half probably should have never bought my program in the first place.
Okay.
They were
Mhm.
just distracted or bored and thought maybe they could do it, but it just wasn't aligned for them. Um, and I'm always honest, like, hey, this is what it takes. It's not for everybody. Make sure you're clear when you buy it. They're like, well, I'm gonna do it, but and so the other half did, and I taught wealth, and in teaching people how to make money, well, my friend Danielle Laporte, who you might know, she's at those Geo events.
Mhm.
Um, she was saying that whenever she taught people how to make money, it really didn't matter what she would teach them because they kind of just had their own karma to sort out anyway with money, their own karma, meaning memory, their subconscious memory or whatever. So the reason I talk about the money thing is because I was like, okay, I succeeded in the SaaS business, heart's empty. Let me teach wealth.
Okay.
Heart's empty. Um, then I went to a church one day. By the way, my favorite church to go to is Bethel churches.
Okay.
They're incredible churches to go to. You can feel the presence of the Holy Spirit there, like definitively. And the Holy Spirit's a very real phenomena in the spiritual hierarchy. It's just that there are aspects of, in my opinion, there are aspects of Christianity that have been just a little bit misinterpreted um, to what it's really supposed to mean. However, Holy Spirit's real. You don't need anybody that tries to go after that with all their heart will feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. And I'm there, and they're very Holy Spirit led church. And I'm 31, I'm 42 now, and I'm 31. And this pastor stops he's doing like a worship thing, and he stops the worship thing. He goes, "Son," he points out at me, "Son." And I was like, "Whoa." Uh,
He's calling me.
yeah, the son. I was like, "Uh-oh." Um, I mean, yeah, generally speaking, like I was homeschooled till seventh grade. Then from seventh grade to homeschool, I went to public school. And did I ever stand out like a big old sore thumb? Like there ain't no place I really fit in this world. I mean, I do fit in some places, but generally, like, a public school system is not a place any kid fits. But at the time, you it was thought that there was something wrong with you if you didn't fit in the school system. Now we're seeing the school system something that's wrong. But
Yeah.
man, I was just like, I'd stand up and walk in front of the teacher to sharpen my pencil and like all that stuff. And the teachers are like, "What are you doing, dude? You got to sit back in your chair." So I always just I attract a lot of attention, is what I'm saying. So I'm used to getting singled out because it just seems to me that's how it goes. I am technically a Leo, which means you are kind of more built for that, but whatever. Astrology is not something I really spend a lot of time with. Um, the pastors go, "Son, I just got a message from God. He didn't trust you with a gift, so he took it away,
Wow.
but he trusts you with it now, so he gave it back." And I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder what he's talking about. And then my hand went up to my throat, and I was like, "Oh, my singing voice. Oh my God, I got it back." Wait, whoa, wait, what? Because when I was 21, I was training with all my heart. Ah, I was training with all my heart for my first open mic.
Okay. Okay.
And I was like in a guitar message board. We were writing songs with other songwriters once a week and sharing them with each other. And then I hurt my voice. The right vocal cord always got strained every time I'd sing. And so I went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, it's just swollen all the time, I guess." And I was like, "Man, this sucks." And I was like, "Well, if I can't sing, then FUCK life. I'll go do business." And then I buried that dream so I would never have to feel it again.
Wow. Wow.
So then I was 31, and he said that I wonder what he's talking about. So when I say I don't know what I'm doing, and when I think I know what I'm doing is when I should probably be the most careful. So I can't tell you how good, I could tell you how good God is. Pretty incredible. And now that I understand the context of cancers, the context of terrible things happening, the context of these genocides, and like how could God ever allow, now that I understand the truth behind all that, and how loving the great creator of this universe is, I was like, "Oh, let me serve you, please." And I'm so excited, and I could always share that my thoughts on it later, but I have been so scared of singing. It's 11 years now, and I've just now gone as all in as I can.
Okay.
That's how, and I've done 4 albums, and I've done shows, and I played, in front of 1,400 people and stuff. But I've always been teetering around it because I wasn't sure if I was actually authentically interested in it, or if I was wasting my time, or if I was just trying to get laid by singing, or some weird motive that wasn't like truly just because I actually enjoy it. And then all the other stuff can happen as a bonus if it does at all. And so I was like, well, I'm not sure if I should. And so I prayed for signs this just last week, Mr. Kevin. You get me just at the tail end of this. So just last week I prayed. Well, I was getting a hypnotherapy session because I wanted to get subconsciously hypnotized to bring more lighthearted freedom to my singing.
Okay.
And while we were getting hypnotized just last week, We went deep into my subconscious psyche, and I saw, oh my God, I'm just trying to do this to get laid. I was like, fuck, so so embarrassing. Like, how could that be so buried in my subconscious? And so I was like, I don't think actually music's my gig. I've just been doing trying to do it to get laid. And I was just so disheartened. And I was just sitting with that. And I said, okay, all right, dear God, if I am to do music, and that was a subconscious interference, but I am to, can you please make that clear to me? Because I'm done trying to be certain. I want certainty to be given by a higher power than I've submitted to. And by the way, when it comes to religious conversation on if you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or whatever, I say put all those conversations aside and say, are you submitted to the intelligence of a higher power? And are you committed to being kind? And can we agree to that? Because that brings unity immediately.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll sit with you. I won't sway you. You don't have to sway me. We can both honor that we're submitted to the intelligence of a higher power and we're committed to being kind. And the Dalai Lama, they ask him, like, hey, Dalai Lama, what's your religion? He goes, my religion is kindness. And it just drives people nuts. No, tell me what you believe so I can decide whether I accept you or deny you. So I pray for a sign and I have a massage therapist come over and I'm just like in the pocket of it. And I'm listening to this amazing book called Communing with the Divine, which talks about the spiritual hierarchy and the celestial angels and the planetary angels and all the Holy Spirit hierarchy and Lord Christ and this whole spiritual hierarchy and like talk about how to commune with every aspect of the spiritual hierarchy and how to talk to it. And it's like so exciting. And so I'm listening to it while I'm getting massaged. And as because I just love God with all my heart. And I turn around, I look up at the massage lady and she has a hat on. And then I like look at her hat. And after the massage is already almost over, like 80 minutes of massage, I look at her hat and I see her hat says music is sacred.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like, holy crap. Well, okay, so music isn't for sex, even though that's all that's slammed down our throats as men. Like all the great singers are just nothing but getting hounded by women all the time. So it's just like always in our face that that's what music's about. Okay, music's not about fame. Music's not about performing. Music is sacred. Okay, slap me in the soul, why don't you? And then I'm like, okay, well, I get that they're just saying, I get that this higher plane that's really trying to help serve me is saying, yo, bro, music ain't for sex. Music is sacred. Okay, well, thank you for this. That doesn't really tell me if it's something you want me to do or not. Like, is this something you want me to devote my life energy to? And then the next day, someone wrote me and they're like, basically like, I hope you're doing music. I was like, whoa. Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Can I get another, please? Next day, I'm on a business Zoom. Someone on the business Zoom private messages me and says, "Hey, how's music?"
Wow. Wow.
Holy crap! While I'm in business, going this road, like, hey, how's music?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last one I got from a gal I used to date. She had sent me a message the other day. She said, "Well, obviously you're supposed to be doing music." And I was like, "Holy crap!" Okay, here I
Wow.
go. Here I go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the peace in my heart and like the relief in my being that I'm like, I'm I'm good. Like I'm not doubting it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I hope for everybody that's alive and everybody that's listening to this is that you're all connected to what the divine and the higher plane and is crying out for you to do because we've got Charlie Kirk's assassination, we've got a lot of pain in the world. We need more, in Isaiah they say, and the Lord said, whom shall I send? And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is incredibly powerful, Dane.
Oh, wow. I have no idea. That's really good. Tell me more?
I mean, that experience at Gio's event in Toronto that Saturday when you did sing, you know, I just watching what took place, and that, I mean, there was one at one point you had a bunch of people up on stage with you and stuff, and one of the gals that would have been on your left, she was like right next to you, and I know her name's Nayla, and I know Nayla, and so I snapped a couple pictures, and then when she came back to her seat, I texted them to her and stuff, and on the next break she just comes up and gives me this big huge hug. She's like, Kevin, she goes, thank you so much, and she goes, that was such an amazing experience.
Hmm.
And and I don't know that other gal that, like I said, was up at the end there, that hey, we want to hear you sing, we want to hear, well, what do I sing about? And she's singing that, well, what do I sing about, and and uh and it was just such an amazing interaction, not only between the two of you, but I'm just like, I I'm just trying to think, like, even for me, just watching that and experiencing that, and what a connection you made with her, for sure. And with those people that were on the stage with you sharing that experience from that vantage point. But then there was a lot of people out in the audience sharing from their vantage point, and me being one of them. And I can't describe what it is that took place there, but what I do know, it was an
Me,
experience that,
me either. Me
yeah,
either.
it was an experience that it's like, man, what I'm like, I want more experiences like that in my life. That's what it
Hmm.
feels like. Yeah, no, I want more experiences like that. And
You know Rumi? Have you heard of Rumi, the
I've heard
poet?
of RUMI.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know that quote about "I'm a breath"? Do you know that one? How that starts?
No. No.
I am but a flute that the Christ blows its breath through.
Okay. Okay.
So in the spiritual hierarchy, the highest level of spiritual hierarchy before it goes to God is Lord Christ. And Jesus was Christed. And Jesus was the greatest emissary of what Lord Christ represents. And when Jesus was saying, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody enters the Father except through me, that was Lord Christ speaking through him. He was completely surrendered to being a mediator for Lord Christ. So people interpreted that as a Christian thing. It's actually a Lord Christ thing. There's no way to God except for Lord Christ. But it's not Christianity. It's Lord Christ. And Christianity is a real damn close context to what's going on, but it's a little off. And so Jesus was like, Jesus, Christ. And Buddha was Christed, and Krishna was Christed. And there's other people that have been Christed because they fully, in order to be Christed, I'm way out of my realm speaking this, but generally speaking, to even become close to that, there cannot be like a single ounce of selfishness in your body at all.
Okay.
You have to
Okay.
be completely like, and that's what Jesus was.
Mhm.
And so when I got up there, and I got up there at the beginning of that stage, and I said, "Hello, my name's Dane, and I'm a warrior for God."
Yeah.
And so as soon as that happened, you better believe some presence was in that room.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to surrender myself to be but a flute for the divine to play its breath through,
Yeah.
just like Rumi. So, and Rumi knew what Christ was. Let me be but a flute that the divine and Christ can blow its breath through. And
Mhm.
so when I did that stage thing, Kevin, I got off and I was like, wait a second. None of that was about me. I didn't even really sing a song about myself. No,
No.
nobody, nobody really got any flavor of me. What about me? That was my stage time. And I was like, I just completely blew it. No one's gonna like it. It was a waste of time and a waste of space. And like all my lower self fears came on. And then I just like closed my eyes and all I could hear was like hysterical laughter, maybe angels. Something was laughing. They're like, you had no idea, kid. You were just an instrument for love to flow through you.
Yeah.
This ain't about you. It's never going to be about you. It's not supposed to be about you. The second you do, you turn us off.
Yeah.
You've got these great artists like Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan was immensely gifted and immensely connected to a spiritual plane of musical creativity.
Okay.
You listen to Bob Dylan ever?
Yes. Yeah.
And you can, so when you listen to him, can you feel that there's like an extra sense of something else?
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
That's not a mistake. When Michael Jordan's playing basketball,
Yeah.
can you feel that there's like an extra sense of something with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
You, now that I'm saying it, you haven't been looking for it, but like now that you're looking at it, you're like, oh, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain quite what it is. With I can only just like I'm just starting to grasp this. What we're supposed to be doing with our life is evolving our consciousness to such a state that we can become a completely surrendered vessel for the divine love of God to flow through. That's the mecca of bliss is to become completely dissolve all sense of self, to merge with Christ and allow the love of God to flow through you into the world in the way that you're supposed to. There's is my heart empty? Oh, fuck no. Not even remotely.
Yeah.
Do I have a hot, beautiful girlfriend right now? Nope. Is my heart empty? Nope. Do I drive a super slick, sexy car, a leased Tesla Model 3? Nope. Do I have an amazing mansion that's just like I subtly invite people to for parties so they can just see how cool my house is? Nope. Am I way happier than when I had read any of that stuff? Does any of me want any of that stuff? Maybe, if it's aligned. It's not an ache because I'm approaching life from the inside out. So if something is like, man, if I wanted a super dope, sexy ass purple brand new Porsche and it felt so authentic to my core, cool, I'll get it. But I don't right now. And I'm deep enough in my body now that I'm better at not fooling myself. Although, you know what? Fool ourselves all the time. I can't. I'm Kevin. I'm so lit up, and I'm so grateful for the space you're holding. So, when you kind of said like what started this, it was my heart being empty. And after my heart was empty, after all the things I tried that would fill it, I was like, let me slow down. As soon as I slow down, I hear sing. I go to this church, I hear this thing. I'm like, wow, my voice. I go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. They put that thing up your nose, and it's like, oh, it's like you just gotta like talk about surrender. And they put that thing down your throat, and they look at your vocal cords, and he goes like this. He goes, Dane, yeah, your vocal cords look pristine. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
thank you.
Wow.
Pulled the thing out of my nose, and I went into the bathroom and sobbed. And I've just felt so unwanted on the earth and in my life, and just such a deep degree of unwantedness, which was a product of the conditioning of the 90s, which is you have to be a certain way to be wanted. And I never could see myself being that way. So I just never felt like I had a shot at being wanted. So the idea of music is so intrinsically tied to the core of who I am, to what I'm gathering, that in order like for I certainly didn't feel wanted by God, which is a horrible mistake to think. And for so I'm like, okay, music is sacred. Wait, tell me more. Okay, another person. Tell me more. Okay, another person. Tell me more. Okay, the third person. Got it.
Yeah.
That had me feel so wanted by God because music and me are so tightly. I mean, I chose to be birthed into a mother who was a concert level flute player while I was in the womb listening to her play the most sophisticated stuff you could imagine on flute. So like while the brain was forming in the womb, I was I was getting all that. So by the time I was 10 years into music and or sorry, 10 years into business and they're like brought back music, I was like, what are you talking about, man? I buried that thing way too deep. I didn't have a shot at finding it.
Mhm.
So my prayer for anybody listening is that my honesty has allowed you to be honest. And if I've said anything that's triggered you, I just invite you to encourage you to remind you that that's more about you than it is me. And if that triggers you even more, then you know it's true. And so please use me as a mirror to discover more about your heart so you have more freedom because you deserve all the freedom. Freedom's our birthright
Yeah.
and freedom's free.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Freedom's
know,
free.
it's interesting. You know, this has been such a different interview after 300 plus episodes released. Um, I mean, you covered it all, and I don't even need to ask the question around relationship because you've already covered it in the course of just having these conversations and how these people just came into your life to like the three people that just kind of confirmed this for you. And you know what you shared about love, that is exactly what I felt in that room that Saturday.
What
You
did
know,
I share? What did I share about love?
well, you just told that I don't know how you worded. I'd have to go back and listen to the recording to see how you worded because I'm just so like there that I can't remember the specifics of everything. I'm just
Yeah.
like, but I'm so in tune with it, and I'm watching like I mean how it makes us feel, and that event that Geo held in Toronto took place one day because it was a 2 day event, one day and 2 days after the Charlie Kirk assassination and stuff. And Geo even opened up the event that morning by just saying, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and we're going to create our space over the next couple days here, you know. And that's exactly what took place, and what I can tell you is that, I mean, I get to be this guy who has conversations pretty much every day during my work week with entrepreneurs who are doing such amazing things, who are making such a huge impact in the world. And I can tell you, you know what we all need is just more love. Totally. And I mean, all that you shared here today, I mean, it just really resonates with me on such a deep level because yeah, I think of this friend of mine, Marcus Collius, who I interviewed him a while back for this podcast. And after we finished the interview, he starts asking me, so tell me more about this thing that you do, because you connect entrepreneurs and you make introductions for them and all this. And how did you get into doing that? And what does it look like? And he just started asking me all these questions. And at a certain point, he's like, Kevin, he's like, this is the Holy Spirit working through you. And he's like, because you're allowing it and you're just allowing yourself to be this vessel, you're just going to continue to become just more and more effective at doing what you do. And nothing you could do could stop that because this is the Holy Spirit working through you and you just continue allowing it. And so I just want to encourage you, definitely continue allowing that, And I'm really excited to I'm gonna have my assistant get this interview uploaded, and I want to share it with Marcus because I know this is really going to resonate with him too. There's a lot of people I believe it's going to resonate with, and what I have a feeling that people are just going to want the people that it resonates with. They're just going to be like, man, I gotta find him. I want to connect with more of Dane. And that's how I felt that night when you and I spoke for the first time and sat at that table for whatever it was, 3 or 4 hours. And I was like, man, I just like the way that I feel when I'm in a conversation with Dane and stuff. I couldn't articulate it that way necessarily. I couldn't articulate what it was. I'm just, and that's what it is. It's like, that's what it always is. Is that's how I mean, I know that's how I attract people to me is because you shared with me that, Kev, I never do podcasts. I hardly ever say yes to podcasts but when I asked you, you said, but I'm going to say yes to you. And, and you said, because I like how, I don't know exactly what you said, but it was along the lines of, I just like how you show up, man. I just like, and that's it, and that's when we just show up this way with love, we do attract the right people to us for whatever it is that we're doing. And it's, what attracts them is how they feel when they're in our presence. They want more of that feeling. And so for anybody that is listening to this and going, man, Kev, I am so glad that Dane said yes to you. And I'm so glad that you got to do this interview with Dane. And man, I sure would like to find out more about him and what he's doing. Any websites, any resources we can share with folks, Dane?
I would just follow on Instagram, Music by Dane.
Music by Dane. Okay.
Yeah, I have danemaxwell.com. You can find my book and all the businesses I've done and stuff. Because all those principles I'm using, so I have the freedom to pursue this this God pulled path of music. I mean, like, listen, I tried to like bury it, and like, hey, at church, it's like, hey, you got this, and hey, 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 hey. It's like and my intention is not to threaten anybody who identifies as Christian or Christianity at all, or to dismiss it. I think it's the personally the closest representation to God, and I identify as an integral Christian. And there is a book called Integral Christianity, which gives a lot of the lens from which I'm speaking from. It's just any Christian out there that has the tiniest bit of doubt about believing it just yeah, you're good. You can stay there. It's a great place to stay. You're not gonna stray too far from God being there, because Satan's real and he's after your light. He disconnected from God's light and he's after your light. And I encourage, there's a spiritual war, there's a spiritual battle for our souls happening, and we're simultaneously being convinced that we're worthless, where we are the most worthwhile thing to the enemy, because they have to feed off our light because they disconnected from God's. And the second all of us say no, then he will die and disappear because he will have no light to live off of.
Yeah.
And so it's a very real thing. I just also encourage people to explore evidence for past lives, evidence for reincarnation, because it does exist, and there is evidence for it, and you can't refute it. And it doesn't need to threaten Christianity. It can just be added to a greater context that's been maybe missing, and it's so very exciting. And I want to end with letting people know that, like, one of the questions that haunted me for the longest time is, how could God let bad things happen?
Mhm.
And if you watch near death experience clips from people that die, and they die and they go to God, and that's usually never like a being, it's like a telepathic field. When they sometimes it'll manifest as like a monk or this, or sometimes it's Jesus and sometimes it's not. But these NDEs, these people, when they do get to God, do you know the first thing that God tells them?
Boy.
I love you.
Mm. Mm.
They're like, that feels good.
Mhm.
I don't want to leave. And then, they'll be like, well, and God will be like, I know everything. And she's like, they'll be like, what do you mean? He's like, I know how many grains are on the sand at the beach in New Zealand. And she knows the grain. I know how many hairs are on your head, straight up biblical verses.
Mhm.
And it's so exciting to like study the NDEs, but there are things that happen in the NDEs that are outside of biblical writing, which doesn't have to threaten your love for Christianity, your love for God. You can stay there
Yeah.
if you want. It's just so relieving, because people will fall from the certain religion when certain like facts just can't. No matter what the belief is, the facts don't line up, and it's just been so exciting. So when they go to these NDEs, I just want people to know how real God is and how you can pray to a higher power and you will receive signs, because that stuff's real and the Holy Spirit's real. It's part of the spiritual hierarchy.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit's a little below Lord Christ, and then you get up to Lord Christ, and it's a very real, very the first law of heaven is order. That's the
Yeah.
first law. The first law of heaven is order, and there is you like golly believe there's an order to those angels and what goes before what and what goes before what, and it's like the most regimented ordered thing in the world. And once you start studying it, you're like, wow, this is more real than I ever even realized. This is the most exciting thing in the world. So when these people do the NDEs, they all go through a life review, which is also in the Bible. It says God will pass his judgment. Well, what they're doing is a life review,
Okay.
and God did not let anything slide. That whole life review is happening, and every bad thing and every good thing and whatever you call it, like there's a every wrong is written is righted, if you will, and like every bad thing is like you get blessing for. It's really exciting. I know I'm speaking way outside of my realm of what I should. I just want people to know that everything is being watched and measured, and everything will come to pass. And I won't say any more. There's a lot more I could say, but just say find a higher being you can love with all your heart. There's a great book recommendation called the Great Work of Your Life.
Okay. The great work.
Um, the Great Work of Your Life. I think by Stephen or Michael or something. It's a blue cover. It's like not written by a savvy or sexy marketer by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
But that The Great Work of Your Life is a book written by a guy. I think that book was the great work of his life. Kind of
Mhm.
thing. Like, like imagine, like, would you read a book if you know someone put their entire life into making it awesome? Yeah. Would you read a book if someone tried to write a bestseller in a weekend? Probably don't want to read that one.
Yeah.
But the guy that spent years writing the great work of life, and that's all based on people following the principles of the Bhagavad Gita, which stands antithetical to Christianity. But the book is phenomenal. You got people like Gandhi and people like Harriet Tubman and people like Susan B. Anthony and John Keats and Camille Corot and all these people that produced and pursued the great work of their life. And, with all the good that Gandhi did, like how much good did Gandhi do?
A lot. A lot.
And he was a devout disciple of the Bhagavad Gita.
Mhm.
He's that was the only book he had. From
Mhm.
what I remember, is under his bed, is under his pillow, is in his room. He had a bed, a place to meditate, and he had the Gita. And he read that. And you all you have to do is read that thing with an open heart, and you're like, yep, it strikes a chord. It strikes a chord, and and Krishna was Christed. And so Lord Christ is the emissary for earth. And so people that have been Christed and truly are from serving from a selfless place, they are safe to learn from.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you can still love God with all your heart and keep your context open.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I'll shut up. May anybody who loves God the way they do continue to love God the way they do, and I hope I just gave them greater peace and greater confidence to do so. That's my
Yeah.
intention.
Well, Dane, I want to thank you for taking the time to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited to get this out there and share it with folks. So thanks again, Dane.
Here's the I'll sing a one liner to close
Okay.
it up. Yeah, yeah. Um, is that too loud?
No, you're good.
Yeah. Here we go. It's exercise time. Can you sit on the divine line? Ride it home. Ride it home. Here we go. It's exercise time. Can you exercise and ride on the divine line? Can you ride it home? Here we go. It's exercise time. Can you sit on the divine line? Ride it home. Ride it all the way home.
Nice. Nice.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Dane.